So Steve, how do you see this, moving to new technology and transforming business whilst you ensure that the current business isn't at risk?
Yeah, so I think from our customer base, we've seen almost sort of two distinct categories of customers. So the first are the new digital challenges, and the side projects of a number of larger institutions where they bring the knowledge and experience, but they don't bring the technology. And I think the approach there is to sort of start from scratch, build a very modern tech stack, and then look to integrate with best of breed SaaS solutions or sort of service providers out there. So that we've seen a number of times, and I think that obviously gives a lot of benefit in the fact that you're not having to kind of change the wheels on the car whilst you're driving along. The flip side of that, though, is that obviously for those kind of stacks, for the bank behind them, they're kind of having to almost build a new business from scratch. They don't have customers on that existing sort of environment. They don't have traffic to move. And so often it's an easier technology transformation because they're sort of building a green field. But then they also kind of have to work out how are they going to then either move customers from an existing banking stack across or attract new customers into it. The other type of customers that we've seen are typically the sort of the older, more established financial institutions that have existing technology, but need to replace it. And I think for those, again, probably a big thing for them to reduce risk is an opportunity to do incremental transformation rather than a big bang. And I think what we've seen in quite a lot of cases is essentially, those institutions parallel running, their old sort of legacy stack with newer stuff, and then gradually, figuring ways that they can kind of incrementally move customers or transactions across. Without having to have kind of a single flip the switch, big bang, and the risk associated with it.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But I think I think in both cases we're seeing very much the financial institutions are very open now to working with third parties that have expertise in this area. I think when we started Form 3 maybe 5 years ago, it was a bit of a novel thing. I think you'd go into a meeting with a large tier one bank and they'll be scratching their head and going, well, we can't work with cloud. It's not in our data center. We have to have data centers. We have to own the kit because the regulators tell us we have to own it. Now we're seeing completely opposite, where banks are realizing that actually they can save a huge amount of money by working with partners in this area. They can become much more agile. They can remove a lot of cost and complexity. So I think we're sort of seeing that it's now becoming much more accepted that these financial institutions start to kind of parcel this up and break it out.
Okay, yeah, and I had a lot of discussions about security. It needs to be in our data center because it needs to be secure, and then they forget that there are hundreds of people working for AWS that only think about security.